right, well, we're going to go from a piece of great media to my recommendation.
Just fuck you, Joey. This was so shit. I hated this.
I'm so excited to see what you guys reacted to with Longlegs, which, according to some people, some delusional people, is the modern day Silence of the Lambs. That's what people called this movie.
So I thoroughly hated this movie. I watched this with Iron Mouse.
Oh, really?
Iron Mouse was like, I'm interested in watching it. And I was like, well, I got to watch it for this
perfect.
fucking episode. So I was like, let's both watch it.
Okay.
We both hated it.
Yeah.
Because I had to bring in the cavalry as well.
You brought in Sydney as well?
I was halfway through. I was like, I literally like phoned Sydney. I was like, I need you to watch this with me, please.
Has she never seen this?
No, she has seen this.
Oh, okay,
So like you restarted it and you were like,
No. She's already seen it. So I was just like,
Just extra commentary.
yeah. I was like, honey, I can't do this alone, man.
Okay, I'm so glad.
So first of all, why did you pick this?
Because the reason why I picked this is because when it initially came out, I was in the States at the time, and I saw so much advertisement for this movie, and so much word around the street that this was like, because this was also around the time where like there was a little bit of a slump in horror movies, or like thrillers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this was advertised so heavily, and I heard so many people saying that this was like the best modern horror movie to come out in a really long time. And when you saw the advertisements for it and everything like that, it looked really compelling. It was like, oh, wow, like Nicolas Cage in a horror movie that everyone's saying is amazing. Like, okay, this might actually be really good. So before I started to watch it, I did the most sensible thing and I went on to IMDb.
Yeah.
Because I just like to see, like, kind of get a vibe of like, okay, what does like the general public like to think about this? Not that it'll like persuade, how I feel about the movie, but I was just curious. And I went on, and the review section on the IMDb page for Longlegs is the most ADHD review section ever, because it's either one side of the spectrum or the other. People rate it as like a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, modern day Silence of the Lambs, or people are like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in cinema.
I mean, we are literally like being filmed. Like I'm locked in. I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Bro. It is crazy how they managed to make an hour and a half feel like 3 hours.
Yes.
It's really impressive.
So I finally sat down, and the kicker for me to finally actually watch it was I was in a call with my sister. And me and my sister have generally the same taste in movies.
Yeah.
So she was like, yo, I finally watched Longlegs. And I was like, oh, really? I've been curious to know what it was like. How did you find it?
Yeah.
And she was like, bro, it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's awful.
And I need you to watch it to prove to myself that I'm not going crazy, because I had so many friends around me who loved this movie.
So maybe I'm like a dumb baby boy.
Okay.
Did you guys understand what happened?
No, not really.
Okay.
Because so to explain the premise.
Yeah, explain the premise.
The movie opens and there's some people are dying. Cool, fun. And then there's this Agent Lee Harker who is a psychic who like has psychic abilities, which is then never brought up again after 50 minutes. It's just dropped conveniently.
Yeah.
So she's just a psychic who works for the FBI catching killers. And somehow there is a lot of killings happening whilst all the doors and all the windows are all locked and sealed, but everyone in the house dies somehow. And there's no proof that someone broke in and entered.
Yeah.
And so that's the main mystery that we're introduced to. And it's, I don't know if it is an A24 film, but it feels very A24 in the terms of like, there's a lot of really beautiful shots that are set up and they linger and they like let it cook.
Very art housey.
Yeah, and it'll be like they'll show like, and the lighting is so beautiful. They'll have like, they'll show a house from like really far away and the composition of the frame is really nice, and then she'll walk in. It just like visually eye candy.
Visually
like,
amazing. Yeah.
But that being said, when the shot lingers and nothing has happened for 30 minutes, you're like, fucking do something. And so it starts up and she's a psychic and they're hunting down this cryptic like Zodiac-esque killer.
Yeah.
And so they go into this one house, and this happens pretty early on in the film, where as they enter the house, Agent Lee Harker is entering with an FBI agent.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, my psychic...
My spidey senses.
My spidey senses are telling me this is the house.
Yeah.
Something's happened in here. And so they go in, and immediately when they go in, the other FBI agent with her gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
And then the other guy also is then just like a normal dude who's like, yep, I did that. Arrest me. And so then they're like, okay, cool. That doesn't help us at all. Why did this guy do it? We don't know. Yeah. And then we just have a bunch of these notes that are kind of telling us about what's happening. And then it kind of starts to unravel. But it unravels because Longlegs, it reaches out to Agent Lee Harker and is like, you're going to die next on her birthday.
Yes.
I guess.
And then I was like, at this point, I was actually invested. I was like, okay, this is an interesting
This is
mystery
about 30
story.
minutes in.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pretty solidly paced at this point.
Yeah. I do hate horror, so I'm not used to being filmed watching a horror movie. I'm a bit embarrassed because you can definitely tell how much of a fucking pussy I am. My God. Especially, it was more like the jump scares at the beginning. I was
my God.
Yeah.
The jump scares were so annoying.
Yeah. And especially on those shots where they hold it.
Yeah, they hold.
For so long. And the thing that pissed me off was you're like, is a jump scare coming? Is it gonna be nothing? Is it just atmospheric? I don't fucking know. So half the time I was just fucking singing just to like cope. just to like break the tension to myself.
That's so cute. I gotta watch your reaction.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny.
You can see on my reaction.
So, Longlegs leaves a letter about 30 minutes into the film to our main character, Agent Lee Harker, saying like, oh, it's your birthday in a week. And then conveniently, Longlegs also leaves a note that gives her enough clues to be able to decipher his language and the notes that he leaves at his victims' houses. What is that shot? Why was there
I watched it on Prime, and then there was just a random advertisement on it.
Anything, guys.
That's so fucking funny.
Watch a horror movie with me. Where is my wife to help me out right now?
But I can't remember. Slip inside.
How can you focus on the film while you're singing?
I'm just trying to break the tension for myself.
Meanwhile, I probably look like this. So Longlegs leaves a note whilst kind of saying, all right, you're next, agent. You're going to be next.
Yeah.
And before this as well, we're kind of shown Agent Lee Harker going through a bunch of these like cryptic, kind of weird psychological tests at the FBI to kind of show that she's like gifted.
Yeah.
And all the other agents like, damn, how did you solve that? And she's like, I don't know. And then we're kind of, the show, they're basically trying to tell us that she's like a genius. She can solve all these riddles and stuff. Then immediately solves the riddle. And then we find out that, something is happening where when these people in this house, they're changing. So they go and talk to one of the people who survived one of the Longlegs.
The first
victims. Yeah, the first killing. And she explains what happens where basically the dad kind of loses it from, I guess, did they explain the doll at that point, or is it?
Not yet. No.
So the dad goes insane and kills the entire family.
Yeah.
And then kills himself. And then that's it. And you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty strange. Yeah. And then we get some coordinates to go to a barn where we uncover, oh my God, what's this? It's a fucking doll. Whoa, that's trippy. And it looks like the people that are killing.
It looks like the children.
Yeah, it looks like the children.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, hinted at that the doll somehow is the cause and effect of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then Longlegs, played by Nicolas Cage.
This is the exact moment it turns from a horror to a comedy.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
He's kind of bad. I'm not gonna.
So bad.
Like, I know that they probably were just like, hey, Nicolas Cage, do your thing. We trust you. But like, yeah, he kind of is terrible in this.
He's so funny.
He's negative scary. Like, he is not scary at all. And like, maybe that's fun. And like, maybe that's fun for you. But like, I felt like, like you said, it turns the film into a comedy.
Yeah, the part that absolutely killed me the first time was like it like ran. This is like right around where they discover the doll, and it just cuts to a scene where
he gets in like his
Longlegs
car, right?
is in his car.
Oh my God! This
and
fucking scene.
he goes like shopping for something.
Yeah,
and he's being really creepy to this like young girl who was like manning the register or whatever. And then it just cuts to him back in the car, and he just goes, "Mommy!"
Yeah. He's just like screaming random shit. And you're like, what is wrong with this guy?
What's wrong with this dude?
I'm like, I get what you're going for, but
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is just too Nicolas Cage.
It's
Yeah,
so
they
funny.
like, I felt like I don't know. I felt like there needed to be a bit more cohesion with what they were going for. 'Cause I
Yeah.
felt like him as a character was kind of all over the place. I'm sure people were like, that's what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not what it felt like. It felt like Nicolas Cage, they just gave him a free pass to just say shit.
Yeah.
It did not feel like I was watching a psychopath.
No.
Because, again, I watched this like 2 weeks ago, so I'm trying to recall this to the best of my memory. After we discover this doll thing, Nicolas Cage goes to the girl who told us all about the first killing, and then suddenly now, after Longlegs has talked to her, she's back in Longlegs' camp. She's like,
Yeah.
no, I love Longlegs. He's the best. I love him. He's my, and we're like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then we discover that he is making these dolls to somehow control people, but we don't understand how it's working.
Even at the end of the movie, we don't know how he's doing it.
And then, honestly, dude, this shit is so fucking boring. Like, the dolls were like, oh god, the dolls are controlling them. How does he do it? And then they finally catch Longlegs, and you're like, great, this is amazing. And then Agent Lee Harker goes to interrogate Longlegs, and this is honestly where the film is at its like most like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
man, come on.
They just gave Nicolas Cage a free pass
Yeah.
to be Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And
He's basically just screaming. He's just screaming and doing dumb shit and being Nicolas Cage. He looks like Nicolas Cage. He sounds like Nicolas Cage the whole entire time.
Yeah.
It's like me when I do a Joker impression. It's like, well, you wouldn't like me with these scars. It's like he literally is just, it does not feel like Nicolas Cage is in a role. It feels like I'm watching Nicolas Cage cosplay the Joker.
Yeah.
And he's
It's just
like,
Nicolas Cage having a mental breakdown.
no, to me,
and it's the dichotomy between him being like this and everyone else being so serious.
yeah.
Everyone is so serious.
And everyone just reacts him with the straightest face.
Like,
in the
he's the
world.
most serious psychopath, like genius of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here being like, damn, Nicolas Cage really is parodying himself.
Yeah, he
that's
really
that's
is.
what it felt like.
Yeah.
With all like the Nicolas Cage roles that we've had before.
And so when they bring him into interrogation, he's like, you wouldn't like me, and like kills himself by bashing his head against the
No,
table.
but the last thing he says before he kills himself is "Hail Satan."
Yeah, which is also so
Which
cringe.
is so cringe.
It's so cringe because
Yeah.
then it kind of like any cool story this thing did have has now been boiled down to, haha, Satan did it all.
Yeah.
Satan controlled us. And you're like, okay, so any fun or interesting nuance of how the story could have unfolded is now just being stripped away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there is now no longer any stakes as to like why he's doing this. Oh, Satan is the one controlling all of this.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a shitty horror trope.
It is.
I've always never found it interesting when like Satan has been doing it all along. You're like, okay, great. So now some weird faceless entity that you believe in has now been controlling all the
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm supposed to be like, wow, it's so deep. Look at how twisted the human mind can become if we believe in a bad entity. But it was just not compelling at all.
Not at
Yeah.
all.
And so he dies, hail Satan, and everyone's like, why did you do that? Why did you let him kill himself? And you're like, what the fuck? Like, this is so dumb. And it's the whole time in the interview, I'm like, just read his mind.
Yeah.
Just read his mind.
Right.
You have psychic powers. This is the first 50 minutes of the entire show is that you can do this. And now suddenly you can't do this anymore when it matters most. Okay, so that's very frustrating. And then she goes to his mom. Again, where reading her mind would have been super convenient at this point in the story. Her mom reveals that she made a deal with Longlegs years ago for her to be able to live and survive Longlegs. She made a deal to help Longlegs by delivering these dolls that Longlegs were making, which then the dolls were vessels that would then control
the family
the
members.
family and have them all kill each other.
Yeah.
And throughout the story, we've been kind of following the detective's boss, who has a daughter, and she's like, I'm going to deliver one last doll. And she goes and delivers a doll of the detective's daughter there, and then we go in, and it's a whole shit show.
Yeah.
And then
And that like
everyone
just-
dies.
Yeah, it's just like
shit.
watching
Yeah.
this movie, I was just like, I had so many questions because there were so many points in the story that just even like taking away all of the Hail Satan shit and the psychic powers of the detective or whatever, just don't make any sense whatsoever from a storytelling
It was the
perspective.
whole psychic stuff they built up that magically was just forgotten.
Well, I actually watched Horror Movie Explained
Okay.
after finishing this movie.
Okay.
And I can explain everything.
Okay.
Because you know what the answer is?
What?
The devil. That's it. That was basically the answer to every little plot hole, to every little bit. It was the devil.
Bro.
It was the devil.
Yeah,
It
because
was such a shit story, like mechanic
Yeah.
to use that.
Okay,
Yeah.
because like let's because I have so many questions. Like, firstly, right from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Lee Harker is like, hey, I have these like psychic powers that just like where I just know. I get I vibe check the atmosphere to know
'cause
if there's like.
It's because it's the devil, like whispering to her, you know?
Right.
So that's why it's like kind of like.
But my question
But she's
is,
like immune from the devil's influence.
yeah,
yeah.
Even though she has a doll.
Yeah.
And then the doll is then shot by the mother.
Well, the doll
yeah.
contained, because you forgot about the fucking brain thing.
the ball
The-
thing.
the-
right?
Yeah,
the metal ball.
All the dolls have a metal ball
Yeah.
that has like Satan energy in the ball
Yeah.
or something. It's not exactly clear.
And so when the mother made the deal, she sealed her memories of that event within the ball. So after she shot the doll,
so
the
dumb.
memories came back,
That's
and
so
she's like,
dumb.
"Oh, the devil has been guiding me this entire time with the
Wait, no,
psychic
that doesn't
powers."
make any sense because right before that happens, she's like, you know, after Longlegs kills himself, and the detectives are like, bro, you must have met this guy before. Like, he knew everything about you. Are you sure you don't remember seeing this guy in your life? And Lee's like, oh fuck, I don't remember. Like it wouldn't be the most traumatic thing in your childhood. And then she only remembers after she goes back home and looks through a bunch of pictures, and then all of a sudden, like,
she
fucking.
does remember when she looks at the picture before
She
the
looks at the
shotgun.
pictures and then she's suddenly like, oh yeah, I do remember this creepy fucking dude coming to my house.
It's the devil in it.
That's annoying though,
just the
because
devil.
like, you know, they build up this Longlegs,
Yeah.
and then he's on screen for about 5 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And then he's dead, and also like kind of a fucking loser. Like, so it's like the whole 50 minutes that were spent building up this like creepy,
Yeah.
weird Longlegs character is just kind of like void. Because at the end of the day, he's not even really a character. He's just a vessel for the devil who has no presence on screen at all, which is fine. I don't need to see a fucking like horned, hoofed thing to be like devil.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, it's just such a boring fucking story premise. It's so shit.
I mean, like, my
It was
question
all shit.
right off the bat, right, is like, I mean, I have a number of questions. First of all, the FBI just believes Lee. It's like, she's like, yeah, I've got these psychic powers, and the FBI is like, I bet. Like,
mean-
you're not going to be a little bit skeptic about that
I
at
see
all.
no
You're the
reason to
fucking
doubt you.
FBI.
Yeah.
You know? And also, okay, so it's revealed that Longlegs has been living in Lee's childhood home ever since she was a child.
Yeah.
You didn't once think to go downstairs during the 20 years you were living in that house? Not once.
The devil compelled her to.
Also,
you know?
the FBI is pretty incompetent, right?
Yeah,
at
yeah.
times. But I don't think they'd be that incompetent where they couldn't figure out that the same fucking guy was turning up to, like, I'm sure they would have been like, check all the roads, ask around.
Yeah.
You know, you would have, if you saw Longlegs, you would have known, right?
Yeah.
So, like, in this world, you have to just like get your disbelief out that, like, for like 20 whatever killings, they couldn't figure out this one weird white-haired guy was going to these houses. Then shortly after, everyone died.
Yeah, also,
You know what I
like,
mean? Like-
yeah, because also, like, you know, her mom was, like, dressing up as the nun and delivering the dolls, right?
Yeah, the people would have seen that.
Yeah, and it's like, you didn't ever think, like, how are there not, like, 20 police reports of, oh, there is a nun that is just covered in blood leaving the crime scene every single time?
I come from a small town, not as small as these towns, but these fucking people, you would know if someone rocked up to someone's house because they're nosy as shit.
Yep.
You would know, bro.
Yeah.
You'd know if someone showed up because you hear the car in the driveway. Like someone else would have seen this shit. And so the whole point of like, you have to suspend disbelief that like everyone in this world is the shittest detective except for Harker Lee, which
Yeah.
And even at that, she wasn't even that good. No. And also, it's miserable following her because, you know, the actor did a good job, but the character's so fucking boring.
She's so paper thin, and it's just
Boring.
like so boring, and it's just like all the conversations she's having with all the characters just don't seem real.
Yeah, and like stuff, whenever I watch horror movies like this, it just keeps reiterating to me that horror movie fans don't want good movies. They want horror movies.
That's what I'm saying.
They just want to see that the tropes they like be rehashed. Because like this, I can't imagine anyone who actually likes watching like a vast array of movies enjoying this.
Dude, I'm
it's
telling
shit.
you, it's like
I mean,
that's
this was like highly rated when this came out.
That's what I'm
the Rotten
saying.
Tomato
By like
ratings-
horror fans, surely. Like I feel like
Yeah.
because horror fans definitely have a
guess.
different bar for like what they like.
I mean,
I've
horror
realized.
fans deserve better than this fucking
Yeah,
movie.
I mean, I think for like someone who watches a lot of horror tangentially, a lot of them come down to just like concept. Sometimes it's like a really, really cool concept. And Longlegs initially, I was invested in the concept. And then it just went down. It was the exact point the doll comes out and you're just like, oh, I don't want. I don't get a good energy from this. About
it was the steel ball.
Yeah,
Just the magical steel ball. You're like, oh, okay.
It was like, wow, they are really over-explaining the steel ball, and I don't like the fact that they're really over-explaining the steel ball.
Also,
because the psychic wasn't explained. Like it wasn't explained. Like there was some rough hints to say like there are multiple psychics in this world.
Yeah.
But like I was fine with that. I was like, this is like okay, this is a story element, but the way they're portraying it in world felt quite grounded and quite real.
Yeah.
Like, felt realistic. But it also then like you can't have then psychics and then have everyone else be completely oblivious to like psychics and magic in the world. Like everyone they're like, how could this happen? How could this happen in this world?
Yeah.
Like you don't have a fucking psychic on your payroll. You suddenly can't believe that mystical shit is happening.
Yeah, that's the part that fucked me up. Where like the detective guy was just like, "There's no voodoo shit. There's nothing like that," and I'm just like, "Bro, you're literally talking to a psychic."
Yeah, you literally have like psychic deluxe on your team, and now you're like, "Damn, how did they do it? I
Also,
can't
the
believe."
part that fucking like killed me, which was absolutely unnecessary, was, do you remember that scene when like after they find the doll and they take it to like this forensics surgeon?
Yeah.
And he's just like, "This is a beautifully crafted doll, some of the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen." I'm like, "Bro, you're a surgeon."
Yeah, what are you talking about?
And
What
also
are you-
when the guy's like, "What's inside the steel ball?" He's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it."
He's like, I don't know, I don't want to cut it open.
He's like, "Yeah, there's nothing in there. Don't worry
Like
about
he
it."
wouldn't cut it open.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't you wouldn't like he x-rayed it, just found that there was nothing in it. So just cut the fucking thing open.
Fucking
Yeah.
open it.
And the
Yeah,
way
sorry,
you described the doll was kind of like, damn, he's definitely on a watch list or something.
Yeah.
He was way too fucking enthusiastic
This is
about
so
the
Meticulous
craftsmanship.
doll. The skin is perfect.
The porcelain touch is exquisite.
I would joke to this. So sorry, carry on about the horror fans or how it's been rated.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like it was pretty highly rated on Rotten
crazy.
Tomatoes, but IMDb. I remember when it first came out, the IMDb rating was like 7+.
I was gonna watch it when it first came out.
Yeah.
'cause I just happened to be in LA and I wanted to watch a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I didn't.
Yeah.
I would have been so pissed off.